Ladies and gentlemen, imagine, if you will, a man who owns nothing, not a coin in his pocket, not a single dollar to his name. To the world, he might appear destitute, a man adrift in a society that measures worth in numbers and possessions. But I ask you to pause for a moment and consider, is he truly poor? Or have we, as a society, misunderstood the nature of wealth altogether? You see, money is an invention, a clever tool, yes, but ultimately an abstraction. It is not real in the way that a mountain is real, or the rhythm of your heartbeat, or the waves upon the shore. It is a shared illusion, a symbol of value we've all agreed to believe in. Yet, we let it dictate so much of our lives as if it were the very essence of existence. Now, this man with no money to his name lies outside of this illusion. He is free from the weight of possessions, the fear of losing what he owns, or the endless chase for more. And in that freedom, there is a curious kind of wealth, a wealth that cannot be measured by banks or written on ledgers. For what he lacks in currency, he gains in something far deeper, an unfiltered connection to life itself. Picture him standing beneath the vast expanse of the sky. He does not own the stars, yet they shine for him just as brightly. He has no deed to the earth, yet he feels the soil beneath his feet, the wind on his face, and the sun warming his skin. He drinks from rivers that charge no fee, breathes air that no one can sell, and lives within the embrace of a world that gives freely of itself. Society might call him poor, but let me ask you, how do we define poverty? Is it the absence of money or the absence of joy? Is it the lack of possessions or the lack of peace? For this man, though he may have no coins to rattle in his pocket, possesses something we often overlook, the ability to simply be. To exist without the constant burden of acquisition, without the gnawing fear of loss, and without the endless striving for more. Ladies and gentlemen, have we not, in our pursuit of wealth, forgotten what it means to truly live? In our quest for success, have we overlooked the quiet, profound simplicity that life offers freely to those willing to see it? Perhaps it is not the man with no money who is impoverished, but a society that places all its value in things that cannot fill the soul. This is not to dismiss the very real challenges that come with lacking money, nor to romanticize poverty. Rather, it is an invitation to reconsider what we value and why. Because money, for all its power, cannot buy the things that make life truly meaningful. And so I ask you, as you navigate the world and its demands, to think of this man, to reflect on the riches that cannot be measured, the treasures that cannot be purchased, and the life that waits beyond the illusion of currency. Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, freedom is a concept that transcends the boundaries of wealth, possessions, and societal expectations. It is not merely the ability to act without restraint, but rather the capacity to live authentically and in harmony with the world around us. Often we equate freedom with financial independence, assuming that the accumulation of money unlocks the doors to liberty. However, true freedom resides not in what we own, but in how we perceive and interact with life. Imagine a man with no money, an individual untethered by the chains of material obligations. Society may label him as impoverished or lacking, but in his simplicity lies an unparalleled freedom. Without the constant need to maintain an image, pay bills, or chase after endless desires, his mind is liberated to focus on what truly matters, the essence of being alive. Freedom, in this sense, is not an external condition. It is an internal state of mind that arises when we release our attachments to things and the endless pursuit of more. When we unshackle ourselves from the illusion that money is the sole key to happiness, we discover a wealth of freedom in the simplest of experiences. The laughter of a child, the rustling of leaves in the wind, or the quiet solitude of a starlit night, these moments remind us that freedom does not come from external circumstances, but from an unburdened spirit. A man with no money might not dine at the finest restaurants, but he savors every morsel of bread with gratitude. He might not own a mansion, but his heart finds solace under the vast open sky. This is not to romanticize poverty or deny the very real challenges of living without financial security. Instead, it is to highlight that freedom is a choice in how we respond to life. Even within the constraints of a modest existence, one can find liberation by shifting the focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in the present moment. True freedom calls us to step away from the race of acquisition and into the stillness of self-awareness. It invites us to live intentionally, to embrace simplicity, and to see the beauty in what already is. It is not the absence of responsibility, but the presence of a conscious life that honors authenticity over conformity. In this state of freedom, the man with no money becomes the wealthiest of all, for he owns his life completely, without compromise. Perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, perspective is the lens through which we view our lives and the world around us. It is not dictated by our circumstances, but shaped by how we choose to interpret them. For a man with no money, perspective becomes both his challenge and his strength. Where others might see lack, he has the opportunity to see possibility. Where society might see failure, he can uncover resilience. Perspective is not just about what we see, it is about how we see. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast desert. To some, it appears barren and lifeless. To others, it is a landscape of infinite possibility filled with hidden beauty and resilience. The same is true for life without money. A man with no money could easily perceive himself as trapped or limited by his circumstances. Yet, if he shifts his perspective, he can see his situation as an invitation to live differently, a chance to break free from the weight of materialism and find joy in the intangible treasures of life. Perspective teaches us that money is not the sole measure of value. A man without financial wealth may still hold immense riches in wisdom, creativity, and human connection. While he may not own a home, he might have the freedom to wander and explore. While he may not have a bank account, he might have a heart filled with gratitude for the smallest blessings. Perspective reveals that wealth and poverty are not purely financial states, they are also deeply emotional and spiritual experiences. Through perspective, a man with no money can reframe his relationship with the world. Instead of seeing himself as deprived, he can see himself as unburdened. Without the pressure to accumulate or conform, he can embrace a life of simplicity, one where meaning is derived not from possessions, but from purpose. This shift in outlook transforms what might seem like scarcity into an abundance of opportunities to grow, learn, and connect on a deeper level. Ultimately, perspective is a choice. It is the power to transform adversity into strength and limitations into freedom. The man with no money reminds us that life's richness is not found in what we own, but in how we choose to perceive and experience it. By cultivating the right perspective, we unlock the ability to find value, beauty, and purpose in every moment, regardless of our circumstances. Connection. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most profound truths we often overlook in our modern, fast-paced world is the depth and power of genuine human connection. A man with no money becomes a living testament to this truth, as his lack of financial means compels him to rely on relationships, trust, and mutual support to navigate life. In doing so, he discovers an invaluable richness, one that money can neither buy nor replace. When we strip away the barriers of wealth and status, we find that human connection is the foundation of a meaningful life. A man with no money cannot rely on the transactional nature of relationships, often dictated by wealth, where people connect based on what they can gain from one another. Instead, his relationships are born from sincerity, shared experiences, and mutual care. He seeks and offers kindness, not as a commodity to be traded, but as an essential part of human existence. This kind of connection fosters a deep sense of belonging and purpose, reminding us that we are not alone in the world. Moreover, the absence of material wealth often sharpens a person's ability to empathize and connect with others on a more profound level. Without the distractions and defenses that money can create, a man with no money is often more attuned to the struggles and joys of those around him. He understands vulnerability because he lives it. This shared vulnerability creates an openness that allows for relationships built on authenticity, where both parties can share their true selves without fear of judgment or pretense. It is also important to recognize the reciprocal nature of these connections. While the man with no money might initially appear as though he is relying on others, his existence enriches those around him. His resilience, gratitude, and resourcefulness serve as a reminder of the things we often take for granted. He inspires others to reevaluate their priorities and to appreciate the non-material aspects of life: love, friendship, trust, and the simple joys that come from human interaction. Furthermore, his journey highlights the interdependence of humanity. In a society that often glorifies individualism, the man with no money reveals that our true strength lies in our ability to support one another. By building relationships based on cooperation rather than competition, he helps foster communities that are resilient, compassionate, and inclusive. Ultimately, the connection forged by a man with no money transcends the superficial bonds often shaped by material wealth. It is a connection rooted in mutual understanding, shared humanity, and the recognition that we are all part of a greater whole. These connections serve as a reminder that life's greatest treasures are not found in what we own, but in the people we share it with.